and welcome to Timberborn. Timberborn is a city builder game with a bit of a twist. You're building a city for beavers. That's right, beavers. Humans don't exist, or they've been driven to extinction by something, maybe the beavers, and so all we're left with is the beavers. Now, the game is currently in the early beta stage, with plenty of development still to come, so what you see here isn't going to be representative of the finished product. This gives us a chance to test the mechanics of the gameplay. The closed beta started a few days ago and it runs through until July 16th. So good news is that anyone can sign up for a chance to play. I've left a link to the sign up in the description below. Alright, so let's get started then. So this is our starting beaver clan, and this is the world that they live in. This is an absolutely massive map, so there's plenty of room to build a city around this. So, like every other city builder, our first priority for the beaver family here is to figure out what we need to do to get them some food, water and shelter. I'll turn the UI back on. The interface here, it's pretty simple to understand. You've got your build tools down the bottom and you got your resources and stats. So everything we need to build is right down on this bottom tool. The good thing about the game being for beavers is we don't need to worry about tools. The tools they have right on them with their little paws and their teeth. So let's mark some of these trees for cutting down. Pretty much everything we're going to build in this game needs wood, and to get wood you need to cut the trees down. Now we need to think about putting the roads in. Roads are going to be really important because they help your beavers get to places quicker, and sometimes if you haven't got a road there they just won't go there. So I want the road to go right up to this tree line, which should encourage the beavers to get over there and start cutting the trees down. Now next I need to put in some wood storage. Now I've noticed in the gameplay, if you don't have a place to store a certain resource, the beavers won't go and collect it. That's caught me out a few times, and probably will again, because I always forget to check where my resources are and how much things I've got stored. Okay, let's let them get on with that. Are you going to start working now? Need you to pick up the pace a little bit here. I think they are building the road here. Might just take them a little while to get through it. There we go. So they'll work in groups of like 2 to 4, I think, and then just move on to the next section when one's complete. Alright, next on the agenda, we need a place for our beavers to get a drink. And early game, you do this with this little sort of, it looks like a fishing dock, but it's actually just a place where they'll go and get water from the stream. Now, it feels slightly redundant to me because wouldn't they just go up and dip their heads in it and get water that way? Maybe beaver society is far too sophisticated to just drink from a stream these days. And we finally got some wood cutting going on. So what they'll do here is they cut them down with their teeth, and they'll either transport the wood back to storage themselves, or sometimes they'll just leave little piles of logs that they assume another beaver's going to come along and take it back for them. Later in the game, we get these little transporter beavers that have these little haulage things on their back, so I guess that's probably why some of the beavers just can't be arsed and leave the wood where it lies. Right, next priority is getting our little beavers something to eat, and that means crop fields. Now, we start the game, the only crops you have available are going to be these carrot fields. I want to maximise the space I've got here, and the crop fields are quite large and pretty fiddly to actually squeeze into the space, so I'm going to have to cut down these trees. So let's mark this out for demolition. It's also gone into night now, so we should be getting the beavers going to bed rather soon. Oh yeah, there we go, beavers are going to sleep. And I do feel rather bad, they're all homeless right now because we haven't built them any housing. Housing, I'd say, isn't a priority above getting them some food and water first. So we have a lot of rough sleeping beavers. A good thing to note with that, even though they're fine sleeping rough on their little mats, they won't produce more beavers unless they have housing. So when we get to that, your houses will have 2 adult beavers per house, and if the stars align, you'll get a little beaver in there too at some point. Okay, time has moved forward a little bit and we finally cleared this little bit of wood down here and been able to get our first field in. I've also set up another drinking point because there can be quite a queue for that in the mornings. So now we've got the crop field set up, you'll notice in this little box in the corner, it will now tell me that 2 beavers are assigned to the crop field, and that obviously means we've lost 2 labourers from the labour house. So these 2 now will get on with tending that field. However, it does take a while for the crops to grow, so we are going to have to keep an eye out on the food situation because it's very easy to run out of food whilst you're waiting for the crops to get through. So I'm going about things a little differently than you might expect, and at this stage I probably should be putting housing in, but I'm curious to see what happens if you mainline more for the better buildings. So I'm going to be starting with the power situation because I want to get carpenters in, and to get a carpenter you need power, which means you need to build this wheel here. Yep. So this wheel is going to attach directly, if I can, to the carpenters, and if I get the carpenter early, that means that we're going to be producing planks early as well, and planks is the main ingredient for pretty much every building in the game, alongside plain logs of course. So just need to mark these trees for demolition, and then we should have this all up and running. Now something I would love in the game that we don't have right now would be if you put a blueprint down and there's stuff like trees and bushes in the way, could it not just automatically select them for demolition, then having to go out of that screen and then going into demolition mode and then going back to the building once it's placed. It can take quite a while sometimes for your beavers to get to the trees and cut them down, so it's a bit of a pain having to remember to go back and replace the building once they are cut down. Right, I need science points to unlock some of the other building materials, so something I want to do now is build a research centre. That will dedicate one of my beavers to research, which will slowly tick up the science points. Just need to figure out where we're going to put this. I might put this here next to this labour house that I've got set up. There we go. Slowly filling in what is starting to look a bit like a town square now. Probably going to be the hub of activity once we've got the city up and running. Right now our beavers are still homeless because I have refused to build the houses first, which might be a mistake, but we do have the carpentry workhouse up and running, so that should help speed things up. Alright, so it's night 6 and I've caved. It's been so long since the poor beavers have had anywhere warm to sleep, so I'm going to start adding a few houses at a time. To be honest, we probably need that population to start going up so that we've got more beavers to do more of the different kind of jobs as well. There you go, have a couple of houses, so your most important beavers have somewhere warm to sleep. The rest of you, sorry, you're just going to have to lump it outside for a little while longer. Well, another day went by and not much is getting built, and I suspect that is because we don't have enough beavers to do all the jobs. So I am relenting and I'm going to start building a lot more houses and get these up and running to get more beavers. Need them to start procreating and making us lots of little baby beavers, which for some reason they're not comfortable doing outside. Now whilst they're busy making those residential buildings, I'm going to plan in and put in this haulage post, and this should really help transporting materials around a bit quicker, which might help speed up the process of making things. There we go. Okay, now we're really starting to see this little town take off. It is actually starting to look like a little village. The pieces do look all adorable the way they slot in together, and it's a very pretty game to look at. So it did take a while, but after I added enough housing to cover every blooming beaver to not sleep outside, they have finally started producing their own children. So I think it's about time we added another crop field, which I want to try out the potato field because that's going to give better nutrition. But there is a whole process for that, so you can't eat raw potatoes, and I need to create the grill house as well, which will also take 1 beaver to run, and that should give us cooked potatoes to eat. Just need to decide where I want to place this. This corner would be good, or it could go up in this corner, or just, no, I think putting it in down here is a nice place for it. So Haulage Lodge is now up and running, and that has led to a lot more tree destruction because they're moving the logs so much quicker, which is awesome, but also a bit devastating for the environment, I guess. But I think that's what beavers tend to do when they're let to breed as much as they want to. They will just destroy entire forests for their own dams. I've also added this little campfire here, which is where the beavers go to socialise. They tend to do this at night, which looks very cute. Everything else is running pretty smoothly at the moment. We do probably need more beavers, and I know we've got 2 children now in the colony, but definitely need more than that. If we want progress, I need some sort of mating campaign or something to get them getting a bit friskier a bit more often. Okay, new development here. I finally have enough science points to unlock the stairs. And this is progress because it means that I'm able to reach these higher up places on these cliffs. Now, you use the stairs in kind of modular fashion, so you're able to build stories high on the residential stuff, and you're also able to build your way up the cliffside using probably the stairs, and you can also use, they've got like scaffolding and stuff as well. So let's see what we can arrange here. So we've got a nice way for the beavers to get up the cliff. So here we have a nice new pathway that I've built up the sides of the hill here with the stairs, and it means we have access to all of these lovely trees that are much closer to home than where we've got up to on the ground below. So for the time being, things are working pretty efficiently because we've got that closer access to some wood. The beaver population is progressing slowly but surely. We've had a few children grow up, and as they grow up, they demand their own housing too. So I'm keeping on top of making sure there's enough housing for every adult beaver. Something else I need to look at, we've built up a fair few of the science points, so we can unlock some new technology. Now, one thing I was thinking of doing was getting the water pump. Now, the water pump isn't anything groundbreaking, it's just an easier way for your beavers to get water than having to go to that little fishing dock thing. So I think it just means that they get water a bit quicker than sitting there and drinking it from the stream. Yeah, let's just do that then. Right, water pump. Now, where are we going to put this? I mean, in theory, all the way over here is way away from where we've got the other water thingy for them to use. So yeah, let's just stick it over this side. We'll probably be expanding out to this part of the map anyway soon. Now, since I've opened the stairs up, I've started venturing into my first little modular home. So you can stack houses on top of other houses, and as long as the beavers have got a way to get to the front door, it's all good. So unfortunately we haven't got enough points to get the scaffolding yet, which will help immensely with this task. But because this is against the cliff edge, I've been able to make my very first story home. Plenty more of those to come when we have the means to do it. So tree destruction around this little town square we've got going on has kind of reached a critical level. We have decimated the tree population around here, so it's about time we spent the points to give back. Now the forester here works kind of the same way you expect in these type of games, where you have it manned by one person, well, beaver here, and they will plant trees around the vicinity of the building. So it's a nice way to replenish these lost tree resources. It also means I've got better logging options closer to home, so I don't have to keep venturing out to far reaches of the map. So where I put this is going to affect where the trees grow back to. I mean, I want to plant this close, but not too close because I don't want to get in the way of progress. But I'd say about here should about do it. If anything, I can assess at a later date if this is too far or too close. Okay, so things have been going well until a new problem has surfaced. We are suffering from starvation. I've been busy building more houses, and that has obviously led to an influx of beaver activity, and there are a lot more mouths to feed. I'll be honest, I wasn't really paying attention to how much food we had and how much food we needed, because if you look at the UI here, it says that we've got lots of food. So I just looked at that and thought, no, we're fine. And then suddenly all these bread icons came up and we've got a lot of hungry beavers about. See, the problem is, as soon as I built that water tower and it starts collecting water, it includes the water in the food total. So that's definitely something that you should keep an eye on. We've got a potato harvest almost ready to go though, so the problem should resolve itself in the morning. Nope, things have not got better, and unfortunately, yeah, we've started to get dead beavers. Not good, but if they can hang on just a little bit longer, we'll get food soon. Okay, it's not getting better. We have a bona fide crisis on our hands. That's about 10 dead beavers now, and I have little hope that the potatoes are going to help now. Now it's basically what's going to be the best in a bad situation. I can either send search parties out to look for further afield berries, or do I build another carrot field? Or are we going to lose pretty much every beaver we've got, which means there's nobody to go and get more food? Well, I guess we'll find out the next episode, because I'm going to end on a cliffhanger here. Join me next time to see if I can save this colony before they all die. So, sorry, yeah, it is a bit cruel, but we are at a natural stopping point as well. So, as mentioned, the closed beta's going on for about another 3 weeks, and so follow the link that I've left in the description if you want to try this out yourself. But that's it from me today. So, I hope you've enjoyed this, and cheers for watching. Bye for now.